At 10:17 a.m. on December 1, 2021, a thunderous roar ripped through the otherwise unremarkable morning in Munich, Germany. Construction workers, toiling diligently on a new railway tunnel near Donnersbergerbrücke station, had unknowingly disturbed a slumbering titan, a 250-kilogram, 550-pound aerial bomb, a lethal relic from the Second World War. What followed was not a controlled detonation, but a catastrophic, unplanned explosion that tore through the air, sending a powerful shockwave rippling outwards, shattering windows, buckling metal, and instantly transforming a bustling urban development site into a scene of raw chaos and terror. Siren wails begin to pierce the silence of shock, growing louder, closer, an urgent chorus of impending emergency. The ground trembles slightly, a delayed, unsettling echo of the violence that just erupted. The air is thick with the acrid smell of smoke, pulverized earth, and something metallic, a pungent cocktail of catastrophe. 4 people were injured in this horrific incident, their lives irrevocably altered by a war that ended nearly 80 years prior. This wasn't some distant historical event confined to textbooks. It was a brutal, present-day reminder that the past, particularly the destructive legacy of global conflict, lurks just beneath the surface of our modern lives, waiting for an unsuspecting moment to reassert its terrible power. The scale of the immediate destruction was staggering. An entire section of the railway line severely damaged, infrastructure shattered, the surrounding area plunged into an impromptu state of emergency. This wasn't a mere warning, it was a violent awakening, a stark, terrifying manifestation of an ongoing threat that Germany, and indeed many nations across Europe, have been contending with for decades. The blast zone, now cordoned off with bright yellow tape, reveals the raw, exposed earth, a gaping, fresh wound in the otherwise meticulously planned urban landscape. The human element is paramount here. The initial screams of terror and pain, the subsequent confusion, the dawning, sickening realization of what has happened. It's a moment frozen in time, a collective gasp as the truth of the hidden danger becomes horrifyingly real. This specific bomb, a dormant killer designed for mass destruction, had defied detection during initial surveys, slipping through the sophisticated safety nets, patiently awaiting its moment. Its sudden, uncontrolled explosion underscores the inherent unpredictability and the profound challenges faced by those tasked with building the future over the remnants of the past. The dust begins to slowly settle, but the echoes of the explosion, both physical and psychological, will resonate through the city and the national consciousness for a long, long time. It's an event that went viral instantly, captured perhaps on a distant phone, shared across global networks, a chilling testament to the fact that even in the most advanced nations, the scars of the past can erupt with devastating force, reminding us that history is not just in books, but often buried silently, menacingly beneath our very feet. This, then, is the story of those hidden specters and the enduring battle against them. The aftermath of the Munich explosion was a stark reminder of a pervasive, often unseen threat that Germany has lived with for decades. For nearly 80 years, the ground beneath its cities, forests, and fields has held millions of unexploded bombs, a deadly legacy of the Second World War. What happened in Munich, while tragically destructive, is not an isolated incident. In fact, such discoveries are an alarmingly regular occurrence. Annually, thousands of tons of ordnance are unearthed across the country, each new discovery triggering a meticulous and often dangerous protocol. Every significant construction project, every new development demands extensive preliminary surveys, deploying advanced ground-penetrating radar, magnetometers, and even highly trained sniffer dogs, all searching for the telltale signatures of buried metal. When an anomaly is detected, a shape, a size, a density that doesn't belong, work grinds to a halt. The area is sealed off, and specialized teams of bomb disposal experts, known as Kampfmittelräumdienst, are called in. Their arrival transforms an ordinary construction site into a delicate, high-stakes surgical theater. These are individuals who possess an unparalleled blend of historical knowledge, engineering expertise, and nerves of steel. They must identify the type of ordnance, its nationality, its fusing mechanism, and crucially, its condition. Decades underground can render a bomb incredibly unstable. Corrosion can make fuses hair-trigger sensitive or entirely unpredictable. The process often involves large-scale evacuations, sometimes displacing tens of thousands of residents, shutting down vital infrastructure like railways, motorways, and even airports, all for the safe defusal or controlled detonation of a single ancient weapon. The sheer scale of these operations highlights the profound impact these dormant devices continue to have on contemporary German society. It's a constant, low-level hum of emergency preparedness, an ever-present reminder that the past is not merely history, but an active, volatile participant in the present. From the massive 1.8-ton British Grand Slam bombs to smaller fragmentation devices, each piece of ordnance presents a unique challenge, a puzzle of destruction awaiting a solution. The Munich incident tragically underscored the one scenario everyone dreads: the undetected, uncontrolled explosion, an event that bypasses all safety protocols with catastrophic consequences. It forces us to confront the reality that despite all our advancements, some relics of war refuse to be tamed, lying in wait for an unwitting moment to unleash their devastating power once more. To understand why Germany continues to grapple with such a prolific problem of unexploded ordnance, we must journey back to the very heart of the conflict itself. The Second World War witnessed an unprecedented scale of aerial bombardment, a strategic and tactical instrument of war wielded by the Allies against Nazi Germany. From 1940 to 1945, the Royal Air Force and the United States Army Air Forces launched thousands upon thousands of bombing raids, unleashing an estimated 2.7 million tons of bombs across the continent. Germany, as the primary target, bore the brunt of this destructive onslaught. Cities like Hamburg, Cologne, Dresden, Berlin, and indeed Munich were subjected to firestorms, carpet bombing, and precision strikes aimed at industrial infrastructure, railway networks, and ultimately the morale of the civilian population. The statistics are staggering. An estimated 1.35 million tons of bombs were dropped on Germany alone. While many detonated on impact, a significant percentage, by some estimates as high as 10 to 15%, failed to explode. These duds, or blind gangers, became silent, ticking time bombs buried beneath the very fabric of the nation they sought to subdue. The reasons for these failures were varied: faulty fuses, soft ground absorbing the impact, or even design flaws. Regardless of the cause, each unexploded bomb represented a lingering threat, a deadly seed planted in the earth. The intent behind the bombing campaigns was clear: to cripple Germany's war machine and break its will to fight. Yet, the long-term consequence of this strategy was the creation of a subterranean minefield that continues to claim resources, lives, and livelihoods in peacetime. Imagine the sheer volume of metal, explosives, and chemical agents that saturated the ground. Every factory, every railway yard, every port, every major urban center became a target, and with each target came a volley of ordnance. Some bombs were designed for delayed action, intended to disrupt rescue efforts and terrorize populations hours or even days after a raid. Others were fragmentation bombs, designed to maximize casualties. And then there were the incendiaries, designed to spark the infamous firestorms. The scars of this aerial war were not just visible in the shattered buildings, but deeply embedded within the earth itself. The Munich explosion was merely one violent, public manifestation of this colossal historical burden. It's a testament to the enduring impact of total war, demonstrating that even after decades of peace, the instruments of destruction can, and do, rise from their graves to inflict harm, reminding us of the immense and indiscriminate power once rained down from the skies, a power that continues to shape modern life in profound and unpredictable ways. While Germany today contends with the lingering echoes of bombs dropped upon it during the war, the experience was reversed for Allied nations, particularly Britain, which endured its own devastating aerial bombardments. The Blitz, a relentless bombing campaign by the German Luftwaffe, saw cities like London hammered night after night. For ordinary citizens, the subterranean world of the London Underground became an unlikely sanctuary, a labyrinth of tunnels offering refuge from the deadly rain of bombs above. People sought solace and safety on its platforms, in its booking halls, and even along the tracks themselves, transforming stations into vast communal air raid shelters. But even these supposed havens were not entirely immune to the war's brutal capriciousness. On January 11, 1941, during a particularly heavy raid, tragedy struck at the very heart of London, Bank Station. A German high-explosive bomb, a lethal equivalent to the one that detonated in Munich decades later, plunged through the booking hall, piercing the concrete and steel. It was a direct hit, a moment of unimaginable horror that shattered the false sense of security many had found underground. The bomb detonated with catastrophic force, collapsing structures, trapping and killing dozens who had sought shelter from the destruction above. 53 people perished in that single terrible instant, their lives extinguished not by the blast above ground, but by the direct impact of a weapon designed to penetrate deeply. The images from Bank Station after the attack are haunting. Twisted metal, gaping holes, the solemn faces of rescuers sifting through debris, desperately searching for any signs of life. It was a profound shock to the public, a stark realization that even the deep shelters, believed to be impregnable, could fall victim to the war's indiscriminate fury. The Bank Station bombing serves as a grim counterpoint to Munich, a reminder that tunnels, while often providing protection and strategic advantage, could also become death traps when directly targeted or when penetrated by the devastating power of aerial ordnance. The very earth that promised security could turn into a tomb. This incident underscored the universal vulnerability of civilians caught in the crossfire, highlighting how the infrastructure designed for daily life was repurposed for survival, yet still carried an inherent, often fatal risk. The victims of Bank Station, like those injured in Munich, became unwilling participants in a war that continues to reach across generations, its destructive force bridging the chasm of time, impacting lives long after the last shot was fired. From the defensive havens of civilian shelters to the strategic nerve centers of military command, tunnels have played an indispensable, often overlooked, role in the history of warfare. Their utility stretches back centuries, long before the advent of aerial bombs. Ancient civilizations dug tunnels for siege warfare, to undermine fortress walls, or to provide discreet passage. But it was in the crucible of the world wars that subterranean networks truly came into their own, evolving into complex, vast, and often life-saving extensions of the battlefield and the home front. In World War I, the static, brutal nature of trench warfare led to an explosion of subterranean combat. Both Allied and Central powers constructed elaborate networks of mining tunnels beneath enemy lines. These weren't just simple dugouts, they were sophisticated engineering feats designed to plant massive explosive charges directly below enemy positions, literally blowing entire sections of the front line into oblivion. The tunnelers, often former miners, operated in claustrophobic darkness, constantly risking cave-ins, gas attacks, and countermining efforts from the enemy. Their work was an unseen, silent war waged meters beneath the surface, a testament to human ingenuity and desperation. By World War II, the scope of subterranean warfare had expanded dramatically. With the advent of devastating aerial bombardment, tunnels became essential for civilian protection. Air raid shelters burrowed deep beneath cities saved countless lives. But beyond shelter, tunnels were repurposed for strategic and industrial aims. Entire factories, like the notorious Mittelwerk complex in Germany, where V-weapons were produced using forced labor, were moved underground to protect them from Allied bombers. Command centers, communication hubs, and even entire populations found refuge and operational capacity within these hidden depths. The Rock of Gibraltar, a natural fortress, was transformed into an impenetrable military base through the excavation of dozens of miles of tunnels, capable of housing an entire garrison. These underground worlds were not just passive hiding places, they were active, breathing components of the war effort, vital arteries for logistics, communication, and production. They offered a degree of security and operational continuity impossible above ground, becoming sanctuaries and strategic assets alike. The creation of these vast hidden infrastructures speaks to the extreme pressures of total war, where every advantage, every layer of protection, every means of continuing the fight had to be exploited. From the muddy, perilous shafts of WW1 to the vast concrete-reinforced labyrinths of WW2, tunnels represented an answer to the relentless destruction above, a testament to humanity's determination to adapt, survive, and even thrive beneath the surface of a world at war. Few places exemplify the strategic importance and engineering marvel of wartime tunneling more profoundly than the Rock of Gibraltar. This iconic limestone promontory, a British overseas territory, stands sentinel at the entrance to the Mediterranean Sea, a vital choke point in naval warfare. From the late 18th century, but particularly during the Second World War, Gibraltar was transformed into an impregnable fortress, not just above ground, but deep within its very core. The war prompted an extraordinary feat of engineering as British military engineers and civilian laborers embarked on an ambitious project to hollow out the rock itself, creating an extensive, self-sustaining subterranean city. Over 34 miles or 55 kilometers of tunnels were excavated, creating a labyrinthine network so vast it could house the entire garrison of 16,000 men. Imagine this, a vast underground world, complete with hospitals, command centers, barracks, kitchens, power stations, and ammunition depots. It was a fortress within a fortress, designed to withstand the most intense bombardments and prolonged sieges. Archival photographs capture the arduous work, men toiling in the dimly lit, dusty confines, drilling into solid rock, hauling away debris, living and working in conditions that were both claustrophobic and dangerous. This wasn't merely about creating shelters, it was about building a fully operational, resilient military base that could function independently for extended periods. The tunnels provided protection from air raids, a secure environment for sensitive operations, and strategic vantage points for observation and artillery. The sheer scale of the project is difficult to comprehend. To connect the various tunnels, engineers devised an intricate road network, complete with traffic lights and junctions, allowing vehicles to move vital supplies and personnel deep within the rock. The strategic value was immense. Gibraltar controlled access to the Mediterranean, and its survival was paramount for Allied operations in North Africa and Italy. The tunnels ensured that even under heavy attack, the garrison could continue to function, communicate, and retaliate. Visiting these tunnels today is an awe-inspiring experience. You walk through vast caverns, some large enough to hold several hundred people, and along narrow passages that snake through the rock. The echoes of history are palpable, the sounds of drills, the chatter of soldiers, the constant vigil against an unseen enemy. The tunnels of Gibraltar stand as a testament to human ingenuity and determination in the face of existential threat, a hidden monument to the lengths to which nations will go to defend their vital interests, literally reshaping the earth to secure their survival in times of war. From the strategic tunnels of Gibraltar to the devastating explosions that haunt modern Munich, our journey through the echoes of war brings us to a place whose very name resonates with our theme, yet carries a story of hope and liberation. Boom, Belgium. Situated along the river Rupel, the town of Boom might coincidentally share a name with the violent explosions we've discussed, but its historical significance during the Second World War is one of profound relief and triumph. In September 1944, Boom became a crucial waypoint in the Allied advance following the D-Day landings. After 4 long years under Nazi occupation, the town was liberated by the British Guards Armored Division, a pivotal moment in the broader campaign to push back the German forces and free Western Europe. Archival footage from that period captures the jubilation, Allied tanks rumbling through the streets, greeted by ecstatic Belgian citizens waving flags, cheering, and showering the liberators with flowers. The faces of the townspeople, thin from years of rationing and fear, are radiant with an unbridled joy. This was not the boom of destruction, but the boom of freedom, of hope finally breaking through the darkness. The liberation of Boom was more than just a military victory. It was a psychological turning point for its inhabitants, signaling the beginning of the end of their ordeal. Local exhibitions and museums in Boom today meticulously preserve these memories, ensuring that future generations understand the sacrifices made and the preciousness of peace. Personal accounts from elderly residents, some of whom were children during the liberation, vividly recall the moment the British tanks arrived, the indescribable relief, the tears, and the overwhelming sense of gratitude.
They speak of the contrast between the oppressive silence of occupation and the celebratory cacophony of liberation. The town's story is a microcosm of the broader European experience, the resilience of communities, the enduring spirit of resistance, and the profound impact of Allied efforts to reclaim a continent subjugated by tyranny. While the name Boom might initially evoke images of destruction, for the people of this Belgian town, it signifies a moment of historical triumph, a turning point where the boom of war receded, replaced by the joyful sounds of freedom. It reminds us that amidst the enduring threats and legacies of conflict, there are also stories of courage, collective action, and the ultimate victory of hope over despair. Boom serves as a powerful testament to the fact that even in the shadow of war, the human spirit's capacity for resilience and celebration can shine brightly, transforming a word associated with violence into a symbol of liberation.
Returning to the present day, the battle against unexploded ordnance is a silent, relentless war waged by dedicated professionals. Across Germany, specialized bomb disposal units, or EOD teams, are on constant standby, responding to an average of over 2,000 calls per year. These are individuals who voluntarily step into harm's way, confronting relics of war that retain their deadly potential for decades. Their work is a painstaking blend of historical detective work, advanced technology, and raw courage. When a suspicious object is detected, whether by a construction worker, a farmer, or even a casual hiker, the EOD team is immediately dispatched. Their initial task is identification, determining the bomb's origin, type, weight, and crucially, its fusing mechanism. This requires an intimate knowledge of World War II ordnance, from American general-purpose bombs to British blockbusters and German SC series. The condition of the bomb is paramount. After nearly 80 years underground, many fuses are corroded, fragile, and incredibly unstable, making them more dangerous than they were when first dropped. A slight bump, an incorrect vibration, or even a change in temperature can trigger a catastrophic detonation. The EOD technician's primary objective is often to defuse the bomb, rendering it inert without explosion. This involves meticulously accessing the fuse, often buried within the bomb's casing, and disarming the trigger mechanism. It's a procedure that demands absolute precision, steady hands, and nerves of steel. Every movement is calculated, every tool carefully selected. The stakes are literally life and death. If defusal is deemed too risky, perhaps the bomb is too unstable, too deeply embedded, or too corroded, the alternative is a controlled detonation. This involves carefully transporting the bomb to a secure, remote location, or, if that's impossible due to its instability or location, building a protective blast containment around it. The area is evacuated, and the bomb is then intentionally detonated, often by remote control, ending its threat once and for all in a controlled, albeit powerful, explosion. This is the daily reality for these unsung heroes. They work not for glory, but out of a profound sense of duty, understanding that every bomb defused, every piece of ordnance safely cleared, is a life potentially saved, a community made safer. Their relentless pursuit of these silent threats is an ongoing testament to the long shadow cast by war and to the unwavering human commitment to mitigate its enduring dangers.
The painstaking process of rendering unexploded ordnance safe is an intricate dance between cutting-edge technology and human expertise. Modern UXO detection begins long before any digging, leveraging sophisticated tools to peer beneath the Earth's surface. Ground-penetrating radar, or GPR, sends electromagnetic pulses into the ground, creating detailed subsurface images that can reveal anomalies indicative of buried objects. Magnetometers, meanwhile, detect variations in the Earth's magnetic field caused by large metallic masses like bombs, acting as a powerful metal detector for the deeply buried. Once an anomaly is identified, the real precision work begins. If a bomb is located in a particularly sensitive or dangerous area, robotic probes equipped with high-resolution cameras, sonar, and even remote-controlled manipulation arms can be deployed. These robots can inspect, photograph, and even delicately clear away surrounding soil, minimizing human exposure to risk. Once the bomb is physically exposed, EOD technicians meticulously assess its condition. X-ray imaging can be used to examine the internal components of the fuse without disturbing it, providing crucial information about its type, arming status, and potential degradation. This diagnostic phase is critical as it dictates the defusal strategy. Defusing a bomb is a high-stakes surgical procedure. The most common methods involve disrupting the fuse, the delicate mechanism that triggers the explosive. This can be achieved through various means: using water jets to safely wash away explosive compounds, precision cutting tools to sever vital components, or even specialized disruptor charges that neutralize the fuse without detonating the main explosive charge. Each technique requires an in-depth understanding of the bomb's engineering and an unwavering focus. For example, some bombs feature chemical delay fuses, which become more volatile over time as the chemicals corrode and mix. Others have mechanical fuses, sensitive to movement or vibration. The choice of defusal method is not a one-size-fits-all solution. It's a tailored approach based on real-time assessment of a potentially deadly device. The goal is always to render the bomb completely inert, transforming a weapon of mass destruction into a harmless metal casing. The development of these technologies and techniques represents a global effort to mitigate the enduring dangers of past conflicts, a testament to the ingenuity and courage of those who dedicate their lives to neutralizing the silent threats buried beneath our feet, ensuring that the ground we walk on is truly safe.
While the Munich incident and Germany's ongoing struggle with WW2 ordnance are powerful examples, the problem of unexploded ordnance is a grim, global reality, an enduring scar of conflict spanning centuries and continents. From the jungles of Southeast Asia to the fields of Europe, from the deserts of Middle East to the former Soviet bloc, the Earth remains littered with the deadly remnants of war. Consider Laos, the most heavily bombed country per capita in history. Decades after the Vietnam War, vast swaths of its rural landscape are still contaminated with millions of unexploded cluster munitions. Farmers cultivating their fields, children playing near their homes, all face the constant, terrifying risk of stepping on a hidden bomb or submunition, turning everyday life into a gamble. Images of prosthetic limbs for child victims serve as a harrowing reminder of this silent war. Vietnam, too, grapples with an immense UXO burden. Despite extensive clearance efforts, agricultural land, forests, and even coastal areas still conceal a deadly harvest of American, French, and Vietnamese ordnance, disrupting development and claiming lives. The Balkans, scarred by the conflicts of the 1990s, still contend with minefields and unexploded artillery shells, particularly in border regions and former front lines. Warning signs, often faded and weathered, are a common sight, grim reminders of where not to tread. More recently, in Ukraine, the ongoing conflict is creating a new, vast landscape of unexploded munitions, from artillery shells to rockets and landmines. Even as fighting continues, the legacy of contamination is already being laid down, promising decades of clearance work for future generations. This global problem transcends the specific types of ordnance or the conflicts that left them behind. Whether it's a WW2 aerial bomb in Germany, a cluster munition in Laos, a landmine in Bosnia, or an improvised explosive device in Afghanistan, the impact is the same. Lives are lost, communities are terrorized, and development is stifled. These devices not only inflict physical harm, but also cause profound psychological trauma, trapping entire populations in a state of perpetual fear. The sheer volume of unexploded ordnance represents an immense humanitarian and economic challenge, reminding us that the true cost of war extends far beyond the final ceasefire, reverberating through generations and leaving an indelible, deadly mark on the planet. Behind every statistic, every controlled detonation, and every tragic explosion lie human stories, tales of courage, survival, and enduring trauma. The individuals on the front lines of this hidden war, the bomb disposal experts, are a unique breed. They are often quiet, unassuming professionals, yet they routinely face death in the most intimate and precise way imaginable. Imagine the mental fortitude required to approach a 500-pound bomb, knowing that a single wrong move could end your life and potentially many others. Retired German EOD technician Klaus Richter, a veteran of over 3,000 defusal operations, recounts, "You learn to listen to the bomb, to feel it. Every screw, every piece of rust tells a story, and you have to understand that story before you can change its ending." He speaks of the relentless stress, the countless sleepless nights, and the profound relief that washes over him after each successful defusal. "It's not about being fearless," he says, "it's about managing that fear, channeling it into absolute focus, because if you panic, you die." But the human toll extends beyond those who disarm the bombs. For the survivors of incidents like the Munich explosion, the impact is profound and long-lasting. Maria Schmidt, an 88-year-old Munich resident, lived through the original WW2 bombings as a child and witnessed the 2021 explosion from her apartment. Her voice trembles as she recounts, "The ground shook just like it did in 1944. That sound, that feeling, it brought it all back. The fear, the uncertainty. You think it's over, but the war, it never truly leaves you. It's buried, just like those bombs, waiting." Her testimony highlights the intergenerational trauma, the way a conflict from nearly a century ago can still shatter the peace of a seemingly tranquil morning. For the families of those injured in the Munich blast, the reality of this hidden war is acutely felt. The construction workers who went to work expecting a normal day returned forever changed. The physical scars are visible, but the psychological wounds run deeper. A family member, choosing to remain anonymous, speaks of the agonizing road to recovery, the nightmares, the anxiety, and the struggle to comprehend how an event from a past war could inflict such present-day suffering. "He survived the explosion," she says, "but a part of him is still caught in that moment, forever grappling with the ghost of a war he never fought." These are the faces and voices of the enduring human cost of conflict. A powerful reminder that while the guns may fall silent, the echoes of war continue to resonate through the lives of individuals, challenging their resilience and demanding our collective empathy and remembrance. The explosion in Munich was a brutal awakening, but it also became a catalyst, a stark reminder that the process of rebuilding and moving forward is inextricably linked with confronting the past. Today, the railway tunnel project, once interrupted by the bomb's violent eruption, has resumed. New infrastructure rises, resilient and determined, a testament to Munich's unwavering commitment to progress. Yet the work of bomb disposal continues, quietly, relentlessly, beneath the surface of this bustling modern city and across the entire nation. Germany's journey is a microcosm of a larger, global endeavor. In the fields of Laos, in the valleys of Vietnam, in the towns of the Balkans, and now in the war-torn landscapes of Ukraine, dedicated teams continue their dangerous mission to clear the deadly debris of past conflicts, one device at a time. It is a slow, methodical process, often unseen, but profoundly vital. The goal is not just to prevent future tragedies, but to liberate land, foster development, and allow communities to live without the constant shadow of fear. The story of unexploded ordnance is a powerful narrative about resilience, the resilience of the human spirit to rebuild, to remember, and to strive for a safer world. It's about the courage of individuals who choose to face down these silent killers, ensuring that the ground we walk on is truly safe for future generations. It's also a story of remembrance, a somber acknowledgement of the immense human cost of war, etched not just in history books and memorials, but in the very earth beneath our feet. As children play in parks and trains traverse new tunnels, they are often blissfully unaware of the dangerous relics that still lurk below. This innocence is a gift, hard-won by the continuous, painstaking efforts of bomb disposal experts, scientists, and historians. The Munich incident, for all its tragedy, served as a potent, viral reminder. The ghosts of past wars are not always confined to history. They can, and do, erupt with devastating force. But with unwavering dedication, advanced technology, and a deep respect for both history and the future, humanity continues its tireless work to lay these ghosts to rest. The sun sets over a landscape increasingly free of these deadly specters, a symbol of hope that one day the earth will be truly clear, and the boom of war will be replaced forever by the enduring sound of peace and progress.